So let's go. Got a lot to talk about this morning. Got to talk about these Nazis. So let's get right into it. So on the screen is a protest, and this is in New York. So you had the police struggling to separate the pro-Israel and the pro-Palestine crowds. And what I found interesting was in the midst of this pro-Israel crowd was somebody with a blue and white Nazi sign. So the hoods, as you can see in the corner up here, in the left-hand corner, you see that the in the group of the Israelis, you have a Israeli blue and white. One of the Israelis is holding a blue and white Israeli flag, and then you see the other one holding a blue and white Nazi flag. You see, and so the hoods is coming off. They're going full Nazi, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't see this. Well, I saw this coming, but it's happening a lot faster than I thought, right? And and I will say this: what I didn't see coming was the I want to say this, like how fast they were gonna move. Like, I mean, I thought it would take more time, right, for them to implement. I didn't think they could implement this quickly. You see, and so I think that's kind of what's shocking. Like, I knew this was coming. If you go back and watch my videos, I talk about it every, fucking day, right? But I didn't think. I don't know. I think it's the speed. I don't know, in which they were able to implement this whole thing. It's just kind of shocking, and not just that, the speed in which they came right out front. Like, I thought they would kind of trickle. I didn't think they were gonna go straight Nazi overnight, and then I didn't think that this would cause the Civil War and the World War altogether. But now I do. Also, I will say that I didn't think that. I was wondering what would be the catalyst for the Civil War in the United States, and what would be the catalyst for World War. And I didn't actually think it would be Israel and the Zion Nazis, and now I do, right? Like, I didn't think they would have, straight that big of a part, but it's becoming more and more biblical, and particularly when you look at the Revelations 2 and 9, when it calls Israel the false Jew, the synagogue is the European Jew is the Euro Jew is the synagogue of Satan, and those that follow them. And now they have made that true, right? And it's just now it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they have fulfilled this prophecy of being, part of the plan of the Antichrist, of Satan, you see, and the armies of Satan. They have fulfilled that. We can now say that Revelations 2 and 9 and 3 and 9 have been, which is a prophecy by John of Patmos in the Bible. We can now say that has been fulfilled. Right, I'm gonna move on from that real quick. I've talked about that before, but I thought it was interesting that the hoods came off so quickly, also. But they are going to lead you very quickly. I would say this is between May 2024 and May 2025. They're gonna lead you very quickly into Civil War and then World War III. Israel is going to do that, right? And so led by the American, they're leading the Americans by the nose. Like I said, I said this, the head of America is not Washington D.C., it's Tel Aviv. The Antichrist sits in Tel Aviv. Benjamin Netanyahu, these people, work for the Antichrist, who's probably, in a base underneath one of those pyramids in Egypt, or which is right across the border from Israel, or a base underneath, some type of underground base underneath Tel Aviv somewhere or Jerusalem sits the Antichrist, right? Who's a non-human entity, their father, you see. And so, but this is moving very quickly. Between 2024 May and 2025 May, you're going to have civil war and World War III led by these Israelis, as you can see. And now the hood has come off and they've gone full satanic Nazi. As you can see from this protest, this is in New York City last night. You can see they have blue and white colors of the Israeli satanic Zio-Nazi state, and then they have right beside it, right, in the midst of that, they have a Nazi flag, right, of the same color. So the hoods is coming off. I told you they were Nazis, right? I told you they was going to be a full Nazi takeover. Go back and look at my videos. You're welcome, America, right? You're welcome. And who is leading it? These so-called Jews, God's chosen people. The question is, what God? Everybody doesn't have the same God. Some people's God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Some people's God, in their case, is Satan, the devil, the Antichrist. Which God do you choose? Right? Who is your God? We know who their God is. They don't make no motherfucking bones about it. You see? They've chosen a side. The question is, what side are you going to be on? You see? Because this is going to very quickly move into Civil War and then World War III at this point. Right? Stand by. So I'm going to cover a couple of clips that I was watching. I like to watch the news, different podcasts, different things. So I'm going to cover a couple of clips, from Crystal Ball. She did a good, I don't really rock with her like that, but she did a good, a good breakdown of what's going on. How these college campuses have also revealed, that made them come, that the hoods are coming off and they're going full Nazi. So let's just get right into it.
So that is the first image. Let me go ahead and show you the next one. There was a lot that happened at Emory University, that is in Atlanta, Georgia. And you can see here, this is a tweet from Dr. Trita Parsi. He says, as I wrote a few days ago, to sustain this level of blind support for Israel, the U.S. must erode its own democracy. And what you can see here is a student who was arrested and tased while already arrested and on the ground. I also saw one member of Congress who was cheering this incident and saying, this is how we do it in the South. So celebration of the authoritarian crackdown on nonviolent protesters from our elite political class. But we are far from done with Emory University. Here is the next incident. Let me go ahead and play this for you. This is the chair of the philosophy department at Emory University, who was arrested yesterday. Let me go ahead and pull this up full screen and play this for you.
I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do for you right now?
Can you call the philosophy department office and tell them I've been requested?
Philosophy department?
Yes. Call the philosophy department office.
I will. What's your...
I'm chair of the philosophy department.
I got you.
President-elect.
I got you.
So there you go. Chair of the philosophy department at Emory University being arrested by this individual in a balaclava. I'm sure that. So there you go. Chair of the philosophy department at Emory University being arrested by this individual in a balaclava. I'm sure that is entirely necessary. I mean, the whole justification for this is that these people are terrorist, anti-Semitic, Hamas sympathizers. The chair of the philosophy department.
So there you have it, right? They're black bag. They get this Nazi over here. He black bags the head of the philosophy department at Emory University in Atlanta, right? Some white woman, right? Got too, she up there, you know, the head of the philosophy department, some Nazi with a ski mask on, grabs her, drives her off, right? You're anti-Semitic. That's the new Nazi buzzword. You're a terrorist. I told you. I made a video yesterday. They must be watching my stuff and stealing it on this channel. The girl Crystal Ball. I made a video yesterday. Right? I said less than 24 hours ago, I told you. I said they're gonna start grabbing people like, yo, you anti-Semitic, you a terrorist. And using that as, justification and buzzwords to grab you and pick you up, particularly if you at a protest. They picked this woman up, right? Some ski mask Nazi drags her off. I'm the head of the philosophy, but I don't give a fuck who you are. Come on, right? Let's go. We got our orders from the Israelis. They gave the orders to the politicians in the United States, and they gave the orders to the cops for us to clean up these protests. So our paymasters, right, our Nazi paymasters, our satanic Nazi paymasters gave us the orders to clean y'all up. So we got to get y'all out the street, y'all anti-Semitic terrorists. Right? Told you. Right? You disagree? Oh, you're anti-Semitic terrorist. Right? Funny, these people are not even Semites. They're from Europe. That would make you the opposite of a Semite. So they co-opt the language, call everybody terrorists, and use anti-Semite in an incorrect way. Doesn't matter. That's Satan. That's the Antichrist. The opposite of Christ. The opposite of truth. Everything is inverted, right? Upside down. You see? I told you before. I said, how do you know you're dealing with the Antichrist? Lies and everything is inverted. Falsehoods are put forth as truth. You see? White people using Semite, which is a dark-skinned person. You see? Everything's inverted, everything upside down. Satan is in total control now. It's a total satanic Nazi takeover, I told you. But I'm shocked that it's happening so fast. Right? And who gave the order? Well, that came from Benjamin Netanyahu, the head of Israel. Right? Gave the order. Kept coming on TV, right? And then called Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden, he calls Congress. And then the Congress, what happened? Congress went to and did a press conference at one of the colleges. And then what happened? Total Nazi crackdown within hours all across the United States. I told you. And this is just the beginning. These people are going to cause, now you start to see the catalyst for like civil war inside the United States in World War III, which I think is going to start in May, right? It's going to go fast now. Stand by.
Professor Caroline Folan, and she comes across this violent arrest of a protester, says, "What are you doing?" And that is enough to cause this officer to throw her on the ground and handcuff her and charge her with assault. So
Get on the ground! Oh my God! Give me some crap! Oh my God! You people are fascists! You are Hitler! You are...
So he says you hear one of the other protesters say you're fascists. You people are like Hitler. Oh really? You think so? Found out a little bit too late, Mr. College protester. It's too late now. He said you people are fascists, you people are like Hitler. Oh yeah. He must watch my stuff. Right? It took for some like 65-year-old college professor to get slammed on the head by a bunch of Nazi, Zio-Nazi stormtroopers trained by the IDF in the United States for you to figure that out, then that means it's too late. Right? That means it's too late. So this is going to quickly click over into Civil War and then World War III at this point. There's no going back now. Right? Why? Why do I say that? You can't go back now. Right? Because of the mass graves in Gaza, the political situation where there's no win for Joe Biden and the Democrats, right? Who are hardcore Nazis, you see? And not to mention the Republicans. There's no going back for them, that section of those neocons, right? There's no going back for Netanyahu, you see? They're at the point of no return now. They have to go full Nazi. You don't understand that? There's no turning back for them. There's no way out for them. So it's either drop the hammer or lose power. Which one do you think they're going to choose? They chose drop the hammer. They said, fuck that. If we're going to lose, right, we're going to lose to Donald Trump. If Netanyahu calls and says, listen, we're going to lose power over here, right? We've been encircled by these Arabs. We got to drop the hammer. We got to go full Nazi now. The hood's got to come off, right? I told you, right? And this is just the beginning, right? Stand by, there's more. But wait, there's more. And this was ordered by, I'm gonna play the video where the Jewish-run, Israeli-run American organizations came on to the news shows, went to Congress, called Joe Biden, and told them it is time for us to crack down now. Right? I mean, you saw what happened with Kanye West, you saw what happened with Nick Cannon, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have to, you know, go through all of that. Right? You saw what happened with a lot of these celebrities, particularly the black ones, Kyrie Irving. Right? How long did you think, and I was warning people then, years ago, this was, you know, a couple of years ago, but I've been warning for years, right? If you know me, if you've seen my other channel, I've been warning you for 10 years. Now we're here, right? The warnings is over with, now we're here, right? And so, now you see, they come on TV, right? I'm gonna play this clip, where they come on TV announcing basically the installation of the Third Reich Part 2 or the Fourth Reich. You see? Welcome back to the Third Reich. I'm not even going to get into the history of that right now. I don't want to make this video that long. But you're now in the Third Reich again. You could call it the Fourth Reich, I guess. Right? The rise of the Fourth Reich. Or the Third Reich, you know, the rise of the Third Reich again. You see? Where the Third Reich was run by the Germans, but the Fourth Reich is going to be run by the Jews. They're brothers. You see, because they just brothers. They're just white brethren. That's where the term Judeo-Christian comes from. The Judeo part is the Israelis. The Christian part, well, Hitler was a Christian, so-called. Right? So therein lies when they say Judeo-Christian, that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about like a black Baptist. You know what I mean? That's just an idiot, right? But here he sends out the call. So let's play it.
Iran has their military proxies like Hezbollah, and Iran has their campus proxies like these groups, like Students for Justice in Palestine and Jewish Voices for Peace. All right, let me go ahead.
About time that the presidents and these campus administrators across the country started again simply saying, you got to play by the rules. I mean, talk about the height of entitlement, right? Thinking that you can just act with impunity wherever you want. You know, it's funny. We're talking about Iran a few minutes ago. Iran has their military proxies like Hezbollah, and Iran has their campus proxies like these groups like SJP and JVP. That, I mean, look at them. I mean, this is literally like a demonstration in Tehran, and you can't believe it's happening in Morningside Heights. So, as you know, President Shafiq testified before Congress on Wednesday. She did about time.
So, as insane as his comments are, equally insane is the fact that they all just sit there and they're like, yeah, they're probably like Iranian proxies. These American college students at Columbia and NYU and Ohio State and University of Minnesota and UT Austin and USC. Yeah, they're just like Hezbollah. They're just like the Houthis. They're just like Hamas. Think about this. And he specifically accuses Jewish Voices for Peace of being an Iranian terrorist proxy group.
So you have, so there you have it, right? So you have these Israeli-run American organizations, so-called, I don't know what kind of, what they call, supposed to be rights organizations, coming on American TV, calling their own people, they calling their own people who protesting, who don't agree with them, terrorists, right? And Iranian proxies and terrorists, and such and such. What do you think they're gonna say about you if you like black or something? Because they don't like, they're hardcore anti-black racists, right? They're calling their own people terrorists and saying they work for Iran on American television, like this lady said, while nobody says anything. So the hoods have come off of this whole Nazi pain train. They can't pretend that they're not Nazis anymore, right? They're not even pretending anymore. They're just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Because they lost their narrative, like people not really agreeing with that shit. So they like, well, fuck it, we gotta go all out now. So they going after their own people that are disagreeing, and as they go after everybody else, right? And so if you don't agree with them, you're a terrorist. You work for Iran, right? And they're coming on, morning news shows, giving that basically giving up the agenda, saying this is our agenda, we need y'all to get on board. And everybody, the cops, the politicians, everybody that's on that direct payroll has gotten on board, right? On board a Nazi pain train, you see, where they rounding up people on campuses, right? Putting up billboards everywhere, American flags alongside Israel flags, and we stand with Israel, right? You got the politicians coming out doing press conferences, going to college camp. When the fuck have you ever, ask yourself this, right? You say, yo, you crazy, this is crazy, you're talking, you're stupid. When in your life, I don't know how old you are, but when in your life have you ever seen large groups of American politicians go give press conferences at college campuses? I've never seen it before. First time I've ever seen it, and I'm an old man, right? I've never seen that before. You see? So this is a full Nazi press right here that you seeing, right? You see the white boy scream, this is like Hitler, this is like the Third Reich, you people are Nazis. You think? It's too late now. When they done took over the news shows, they done took over the police departments, and they done took over your government, and now the head of your government is not in Washington, D.C., it's in Tel Aviv with the Antichrist. It's too late, right? It's way too late for that now. I'm sorry to say, like now, it's gonna get ugly, right? Because they can't back off. Where are they gonna go? And then they say, oh, you know what, y'all win. It's over with. You right. Right, y'all win. We're gonna stop this. There is no stopping it. Right? I ain't gonna belabor the point, but obviously they're not gonna back off. These people look like they're about to back off? Hell no. And here's my analysis, like my prediction. This is going to be one of the sparks for civil war in the United States. This is going to be one of the sparks for World War III. You see? Because people in the United States are going to revolt against them. You see? At some point. Right? I mean, I don't see how it doesn't happen. People in the United States are going to revolt against them. This is the United States. They better look around. This ain't Palestine. You see? And what's going to happen is, look at what happened. There's a video, I'm not going to play it right now. I'm going to try to wrap this up. Where in New York City, where the protesters chased a bunch of police into a building where they had to hide. One of them was the chief of police. Why is that happening? Because as the protests spread, you don't have, and I said this in one of my videos, but I didn't know this was going to be the catalyst for it. As the protests spread, you don't have enough cops and military, right? So if, let's just say, all of the, the protests continue to spread, people don't go away, no matter how much you start locking people up or whatever. You're going to have the same situation you had in New York today. I'll post a link for the video. Where you got so many people and but you only have a finite number of cops. So if you got, I don't know, 15 universities with 15 huge protests, in a city or area, state, city area, metropolitan area, you only got a certain amount of people that can respond, right? Not to mention the other shit that's going to be going on. It's going to be pandemonium. And you're not going to be able to contain it. Right? I said that before. Go back and look at one of my videos. At some point, I didn't know this was going to be the catalyst for it. But I said at some point, this is going to get out of hand and the dominoes going to start to fall. But the dominoes is falling now, you see? And you get ready to experience a full-on, hardcore Nazi, Nazi, Zion Nazi push like you never seen before. Where they on the news, right? Every morning, like this guy. These people are terrorists. Anybody don't agree with us, a terrorist, right? Go back and look at the movie V. Looks just like the movie V. One of my favorite movies, right? Where these people are on TV every night, right? You either with us or you with the terrorists, right? Everybody is a terrorist. Everybody is a whatever, right? They're gonna keep pushing this, as you can see. And the more they push, the more they're gonna piss people off. And when at a certain point, it's gonna get to a breaking point, right? If they're trying to scare people. If people don't get scared, that's when it's gonna get bad. If they're not able to scare people off of these campuses and scare people in it, enough, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna be a backlash to that. You see what I'm saying? Like, the Biden is definitely gonna lose the election based on this, but it's gonna be worse than that because it's gonna be civil war, right? They're gonna, and I didn't see that coming. That's one part I didn't see coming. I didn't expect that the Zion Nazis was gonna push and was gonna be a catalyst for the civil war in the United States, but now I see that they are. Because people not gonna go for this, right? The more they push and the more they crack down, the worse it's gonna be. Starting now, like from now moving toward the elections in November. The worse and worse it's gonna get. You see? Because people are gonna push back against them. They not gonna, people, you know what I'm saying? They watching their kids on these campuses get beat up. People getting pressured on their jobs, right? They gotta walk in the morning, turn on Morning Joe, turn on, you know, Today's Show and listen to some Zion Nazi, some Nazi calling you a terrorist and say, listen, you gotta agree with me or you're a terrorist. You say, what happened to my freedom of speech? What happened to my rights? What happened to my, you know, this amendment and that amendment? I got some motherfucker from a foreign country dictating to my politicians and dictating to the people on my job to tell me what I have to do? Right? Not to mention as the economic situation gets worse, right? And shit gets heated up from the elections coming up. And you watching these people beat up people beat the shit out of people. You watch your politicians give billions of dollars to foreign countries, and then those same foreign countries send their operatives to the United States to tell you what to do. People gonna be like, where's my freedom? Where's my democracy? They're gonna start realizing it's all bullshit. And they're gonna get angry. You see? Not to mention all the other shit that's going. I mean, you look at the borders. You look at that border. You got millions of people coming across the border at the same time. This shit is a powder keg. And the Israelis just lit the match. That's right. I didn't see that coming. But they just lit the Israelis just lit the match. So anyway, I ain't gonna make this too long. But yeah, these Nazis, the hoods have come off. And now they just going full Nazi. Right? And they lit the match on some shit, basically, with this. And I think moving forward from now, it's just gonna progress. You know, my prediction is it's gonna progress. The more that they have their agents crack down on the Americans, the worse it's gonna get. The more they crack down, eventually, it's just like lighting a match. They're not gonna get the result they want. America's not Palestine. You see? America is a whole different fucking animal. And then, what you do to Negro, like, the shit they did that, you know, they was doing to Negroes wholesale, Kanye West, Nick Cannon, whatever, no, that shit ain't gonna work wholesale. It works on black people who at the bottom and ain't got shit, but it ain't gonna work on Americans wholesale, cause the white Anglo-Saxon is unpredictable. You see? They unpredictable. And that's the wild card. With the white Anglo-Saxon, you see, who may not necessarily agree with the Judeo-Christians, right? He may go left on their ass, and then they really got problems. You see? They gonna have problems. That's what I said. You're gonna be facing a civil war of people, you know what I mean? And that's who it's gonna come out of. It's gonna come out of white people. That's gonna go left. They like, fuck the Israelis. You can't come, you know, this my country. You can't, you know what I mean? It's not your country. You stole it from the Indians, but it's my country. You can't come here and tell me what to do. Right? And they get mad and shit ain't going right for them economically, and then they go left on their ass. You see? Not to mention the other groups, you know, going left on them, where they like, yeah, this is bullshit. Even the silly Negro, yeah, man, you know, he might even go left. Like, I ain't with this shit. Right? I ain't voting for no Joe Biden. I ain't voting for to get overrun by no Israeli Zion Nazis. You see? So it could go different ways, but it's definitely going left. And then it's going south. You know what I mean? And so these people done lit the match, man. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. You know, this is the rise of the Third Reich all over again. You know, but this time it's the Fourth Reich, led by the Zion Nazis, right? Not the, you know, Christian Nazi. So, gotta get prepared for that shit. That's all I got.